host, Queen Ash, and on this channel, we focus on helping women, especially women of color, become quality kingdom queens through faith, fashion, beauty, and class. So, my queens, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and press that bell notification for your weekly class sessions. In today's video, we are going to continue where we left off in last video's obstacles destroying your feminine growth. That was part 1. If you missed part 1, I will link it here for you to view. Go ahead and go back to that video if you have not watched part 1. And today, part 2 portion of the video, we're going to continue with family. We all know that family and friends are near and dear to our hearts. And because they hold such a special and significant place in our hearts and by our sides, our family and friends, they have some kind of authority and influence over our lives. Now, this is not a bad thing. However, when you are trying to make a difference or a change in your life that will conflict with some of the ideas and opinions of the very people that you love, you will get some kickback from that. So let me kind of explain this. So as I stated before, family, they've been there since your infancy, since the day that you were born. So they know all of your antics. They know what ticks you off. They know some of the mischievous things that you've done throughout your life. Okay. So they know if you poured ice cold water on one of your siblings before, your family knows that. If you once went to the grocery store and you stole a Snickers bar, your family members, they know something about that. I mean, family, honestly, is just a big ring of gossip, okay? And we kind of love that because it keeps us close to each other. We're always thinking, well, what is this person doing? What's that person's doing? I want to update on their life. So family and friends, they know a lot of our secrets. They know a lot of things that we've done in our life. And because they know and they understand that, they're on the History Channel. Okay? Let me say that again. They are on the History Channel. And because they're operating and functioning from the History Channel, they're not contributing to the individual that you're trying to be today. You're no longer that little girl that used to dig in her nose, eat her boogers, or dig in her nose and wipe it on her little brother. Okay? You're not that person anymore. Let's say that you're on this feminine journey and your clothing, the way you dress starts to change. The way you speak begins to change. Some of your interests, things that your family knew that you loved before. You loved rap music. You love hip hop and R&B. You love K-pop. And now all of a sudden, you're always listening to Christian music, or you're listening to Beethoven and classical music. This is not like you. So your family, they notice that you're starting to change and you're starting to become an entirely different individual. And sometimes because they're unfamiliar with this new person that you're becoming, they're going to, of course, insert their ideas and their opinions into the matter, which is not a bad thing because they're honestly concerned for you. Now, some family members are concerned for you in a positive way, and some family members, we all know that some of us have toxic family members, but we're going to talk about the toxic part later. But sometimes family members are generally concerned about you and about your well-being. And so some will simply come out and ask, hey, what's going on? I noticed that you've changed a lot. You're not your normal, usual self. And just explain to them that, hey, yeah, I'm on this new journey in my life. I want a change. I want to change myself. I want to do something different. I no longer want to be the person that I wish to be because I was unhappy with that individual, or I felt that that individual do not support or is not conducive to the individual that I would like to be. And that's okay. You will have some family members that will say, oh, okay, I understand. Well, let me know how you're going on your journey. Keep me updated. Those are the family members that are genuinely concerned. Now, let's talk about the toxic family members. And you know who they are. We all have some kind of toxic uncle, toxic aunt, toxic cousin, or toxic parent. We have someone that is toxic in our life, that everything that comes from their mouth, anything that they say, will immediately dispirit us. It is dispiriting. It is demoralizing, sometimes dehumanizing. We will have some toxic family members. These are the individuals that are going to say, when you buy a new dress, when you're dressing completely different, they're going to be like, so you think you're better than me now? Why are you dressed like that? You didn't used to dress like that before. Who do you think you are? So you're going to have family members that will turn your growth, your achievements into something you don't intend for it to be. Oh, why are you wearing makeup all of a sudden? You were just fine the way you were. That could be true. That is true, actually. Makeup is not there to sort of take over your beauty. That's not the case. Makeup is actually supposed to enhance your beauty. However, if makeup is something that you want to try, if it's something you want to dabble in, that is your decision. That is at your discretion, not a family member. It is up to you on the kind of individual that you wish to be and that you want to grow into. And when you find that you're encountering, you will know that you're encountering a toxic family member, because when you're going over to their home, they will talk about some of the accomplishment you've made on your feminine journey, but it will not be positive compliments. It won't be anything positive to help encourage and boost you on your walk. And if you're encountering a toxic family member or a toxic friend or individual that's doing that, it's best to just take a step away from them, just kind of pull back a little bit. Now, I'm not talking about disowning or just completely throwing your family to the side. That's not it. That's not the case. But you need this time to understand who you are, who you've become, who you are becoming. And if that family member is hindering your growth, then you need to lovingly and kindly step back from that family member. I know that my husband, he always have this saying: anytime we make any changes, any big decisions or anything like that, he first asks, is it beneficial for my family? And if it's beneficial for my family, does it bring glory to God? Those are the two things that my husband will always say when he's making any kind of decision. If you know that it's glorifying God and it's edifying you and it's edifying other people by seeing and interacting with a feminine kingdom woman and queen, then I'm sorry, your toxic family members, they have no say or no room to breathe the negativity and toxicity into your life. Let's talk a little bit about your friends. Now, some of us have friends that we know are not conducive to our change. We know that it's not edifying, that's not uplifting, that's not encouraging. We know that they have the spirit of covetousness. They have the spirit of jealousy. We know and we understand that, but because we don't want to lose our precious connections, we hold on to those individuals that we know are not good for our souls and our spirits. So if you have a friend that you know is always trying to plot behind your back, that's always trying to stunt you in your feminine growth, that's always trying to throw obstacles in front of you so you can trip and fall and not get back up, nor are they willing to help you get back up, we know that those are not the type of friends that you need. And it's time for you to think about some changes. So that's what I have to say about family and friends. If you're feeling like you're coming against a roadblock in your feminine journey, analyze and evaluate if you have toxic family and friends that's kind of slowing you down and stunting your next obstacle that could be destroying your feminine growth. is the idea of a fixed mindset. Remember, in the first video, we talked about the growth set. But in this video, we're going to talk about the fixed mindset. Now, the fixed mindset is very important because fixed mindsets leads to self-sabotage. Now, the fixed mindset, again, is a term coined by Dr. Kara DeWitt, who wrote about the growth and fixed mindsets. If you have not read Mindsets by Dr. Kara DeWitt, you really should invest in reading that book. It is very beneficial for literally growing your intelligence, growing and changing your mindset. Now, the idea of the fixed mindset is that exactly that. Your mindset is fixed. You feel as if you've already learned that you needed to learn over your lifespan. You feel as if you can't become any smarter than you are right now. You feel as if you can't do something new. You can't do something exciting. Basically, your growth is already learned and it's now stunted, and there's absolutely nothing else you can do to exceed and excel. That is the fixed mindset. So ask yourself, if you've said something like, oh, they were born that way. Oh, they were always smart. Oh, I can never be this smart. I can never do this. I'm not smart enough for that. If you're telling yourself these kind of negative affirmations, then chances are, well, you have a fixed mindset. Okay? So a mindset that is stuck and unwilling to change. Now, can you fix a fixed mindset? Absolutely. Our minds, the brain, is one of the most powerful things inside our body. I mean, of course, we have other significant and powerful parts, but the brain is absolutely incredible. Okay? We can relearn some of the things that we've already learned. Now, I don't know about you all, but when I was younger, math seemed much easier to comprehend and understand than the math of today. I was able to solve different problems, different word problems in a simple and easy manner. However, when I'm helping my son with his homework or something like that, I look and I say to myself, why is the teaching method, why is the strategy for this math problem completely different from how I learned in school? Okay, so you still get the same answer at the end of the day. I can come up with the answer from the way I've learned, and my son can get the answer from his mathematical strategy. So are both ways wrong? No, both ways are not incorrect. They're just two different ways of getting to the answer that we're trying to get to. And one way could be better than the other way, but we have to find out which way, which answer, which method is best. That is the same for your fixed mindset. You learned something in the past. You may have learned it this way in the past, but you can refocus and relearn something that you felt you've never quite got right in the beginning. You can become smarter. You can. You just have to retrain and refocus your brain to do so. You are capable of the things that you wish to achieve in life. You have to just tell your brain that you are. Okay? We've gotten into a role, in a sense, that we're old now. I mean, we can be 20 years old and we claim that that's old. I mean, you can be 30 and claim that you're old. I mean, I don't know why, but to me, 30 is not old. 20 is not old. Honestly, I don't think 40 is old. However, we feel as if we've reached a certain level where we can no longer advance. We can no longer excel. And that's not the case. And that is what Dr. Kara DeWitt is saying when it comes to a fixed mindset. You can change these things. Okay, you can relearn things that you've already learned before. You can find a different way to go about it. That's all I would like to say when it comes to the fixed mindset. Now for the last obstacle, destroying your feminine growth. Now, I know that this is extremely controversial, and I have to be honest, and I have to say this, like I said in my first video, like I've said in my second video, and now I will say in this video. This is a faith-based channel. Yes, I am teaching you femininity skills and everything of that nature. However, this is a channel that focuses heavily on God. I love God. I love Jesus. And therefore, the absolute last obstacle that could be destroying your feminine growth is an absence of the one true living King. The absence of the one true living King could be the reason why you are struggling in your feminine growth. As I said in my first video, Secrets to Becoming a Feminine Woman. If you have not checked out that video, go ahead and look at Secrets to Becoming a Feminine Woman. God is essential to your journey to becoming a feminine woman, because who else understands the role and the identity and the pursuit of being feminine and being a feminine woman than the Creator himself? Now, I know some of you may not be Christians, or you may not have a relationship with God, and that's fine. That's okay. As I stated before on my channel, we do not turn anyone away from the church. And if they do turn you away at your church, you need to kind of seek a church that delivers truth and that will speak truth. At least a good church that speaks biblical truth will not turn you away. Therefore, I'm not going to turn you away, but I do want to stress that please do not have rude and inappropriate comments or things like that, because I will block you. All right. So Christ, yes, we have to have him. He's the creator of man. He is the creator of woman. He's the creator of life. And we have to know, and we have to understand that we can't step into this role of femininity. We cannot own and embody the women that we're trying to be. We do not find our identity in Christ. Our identity is in him. Therefore, we have to seek him for us to become all that we wish to be. Okay? Now, why is this an issue with us in the world today? Why is it so hard if we're without Christ? Well, we love sin. Naturally, we're wicked human beings. We love sin. Sin sells. I remember talking to my husband about this the other day, and I'm like, wow, how is it when someone starts talking about God, everyone just scatter like roaches when you shine a light onto them? Everyone scatter, they flee. But if you're talking about some of the most degrading and derogatory and just crazy things that's happening in today's world and about things that we do, people are more interested to listen to those things. Now, when I say that sin sells, I literally mean sin sells. For example, now I remember when I went to my mom's house and my sisters, they were all there, and one of my youngest sisters, she was watching Lucifer. Now, I've never watched Lucifer up until that point. And my sister, she was telling me about the show and things like that. And when I saw the trailer of Lucifer, I saw the actual character, the person that's portraying Lucifer, which is a fallen angel, by the way. He was coming out of the water. And I'm not gonna lie, the actor, he's very attractive, but he was coming out of the water with water dripping off his body, nice abs, things like that. And then what scrolled across the screen was, "He is risen." No, I said to myself, what? Lucifer has risen? What? that's amazing. Like, I immediately felt shocked and freaked out a little bit because of the person that I know I am today. That actually really freaked me out. And as I was watching the show, not for me. But it could be for some people, but not for me. And my sisters, they love the show. Now, I can't sit there and say that that's wrong on their part that they like the show, but I can see the pull for it. I can see the allure to it. Or watching shows in which females are fighting each other, or we're watching shows in which men and women are like going at it sexually, things like that. I mean, those kinds of things sell. We get very high ratings, very high views. We want to see that. We want to see drama. We want to see TNT. Okay. We want to see those things that's going to, spark our interest, spark our desire to see something completely different from what we see in our normal day lives. So, however, if I was to say, hey, let's put on Pure Flix, let's watch God's Not Dead, or let's watch The Chosen. I don't know how many of you watch The Chosen. Great show. You should watch it. Or let's watch something that won't portray any of the things you're watching right now. You'll probably be bored. You probably say, okay, next. That's going to be your initial reaction, because seeing Lucifer and saying that he is risen is better than just, oh, we're talking about heaven. We're talking about God. This seems kind of boring. Sin, sex, they all sell. That's kind of boring. God seems kind of boring. And if you have this thought, and if you have this mindset that God is just boring, Jesus is boring, reading the Bible is boring, going to church is boring, heaven sounds boring itself, then that's a problem. It's a problem if you feel as if those things are greater and more entertaining than Christ himself. So, as another example, I'm going to use my little sister again. I'm sorry. I know she's probably going to get upset at me. I hope she doesn't, but it's easy for me to talk about it because I'm a decade plus years older than my little sister. So I can understand the dichotomy here with the idea of sin sells. I understand the dichotomy here between a young woman, which is my sister, versus a more mature woman, which is the woman that I have become. So we're going to talk about, no, this is not a rant or a rave against rap, hip hop, and R&B music, because before, when I was my sister's age, I used to listen to that all the time. I listened to it all the time before I migrated to K-pop, and then I've just migrated to, of course, Christian music and classical music. Okay. So we're going to talk about, of course, the rap and hip hop videos that she loves to watch. And my sister, I remember when she came to my house, she's like literally blasting the music throughout the house, and she knows every single lyrics. She knows all the lyrics to the songs that she was singing. And I was listening to her one day, and she was looking at the videos, and I was watching the videos with her. And I said, do you really like these songs? And she said, yeah, I do. And I said, why? And she said, because, I'm a bad bee, which I dislike. I'm bad. And they talk about bad bee. They talk about this and that. And I asked her one question. All of these songs that you're singing, all of these music videos, and you're talking about the women in the videos, right? All of the women that are in the videos. I said, out of all of the videos, how many of the women look like you? That's what I told her. Just let's pull aside the words for right now. Let's stop the words for right now. But how many of the women in those videos look like you? It was a weird question for her. She didn't quite understand what I was asking, but I didn't think she would do it. She literally went back, looked at all of the videos, all of the songs that she liked. She went back and she looked at every single one without dancing, without listening to the lyrics, all those things. And she came back to me and she said, yeah, you're right. None of them look like me. Now, and on top of that, do you feel good about the words that they're saying in the song? Well, because that's what I am and blah, blah. But none of the women there, how does it correlate to you when the women in the video, they don't look like you, but the words they're saying are applied to the women that's in the video, but they don't look like you. And it was kind of mind-boggling for her. Okay. So of course, most of the women in these videos, they weren't women of color, but they had Black aesthetics. So things like, of course, things that are genetically given to Black women or women of color, they had the Black aesthetics, but they didn't look like her. And so just thinking about the women in those videos, because that was appeasing. Women with a nice body shape, half dressed. They were considered bad bees. They were considered this, that, and that. My sister, she liked the idea of it, but it didn't represent her. And that is what I wanted to show her, that the lyrics are kind of downgrading. When you actually listen to some of the lyrics, they actually feel kind of degrading and derogatory. However, you put a nice face with a nice body to it, and wow, it's amazing. And I just wanted to show my sister that this is what you're feeling yourself with. You believe you are one of those women that don't even look like you. They're not symbolizing beauty with you. It's not synonymous. The bad bee is not synonymous with you, because none of the women in there had your skin tone. Okay. And so that was a little, I didn't think she would do it, but that was a little thing when I'm talking about sin sells, the idea sells, the words, the lyrics. We're so quick to learn a song, pick out listen to the beat, learn the lyrics, and boom, we're excited. But is it speaking to us? Do we identify with what they're saying? Do we feel good about the words that are being said about us? Is it edifying? And if it's not, then there shouldn't be a reason to listen to it. Now, do my sisters still listen to those songs? Yeah. And then, did my sister say, hey, you used to listen to stuff like this too? Yes, of course. There's the saved and the unsaved. I was unsaved before and I'm saved now. The hook. Stop listening to the beat and actually listen to the words that were being said. I didn't like the words at all. It didn't define me. I didn't like what it was saying. And I had to stop listening to it because it didn't help me grow. It's not helping me to grow. It's destroying my very feminine nature. So I had to put a stop to it. Now, eventually, I hope my sisters will slowly follow that path as well. But I'm patient and I love the idea of seeing them grow, which is why you should love the idea of seeing you grow as well. And you ask yourself, is it beneficial to you or your family? And does it bring glory to God? So if you're finding out that you're really struggling in your feminine journey, in your feminine growth, ask yourself, are you listening to things that's not edifying you? Are you listening to the rap, the R&B, the K-pop, wherever you're listening to? Is it feeding you things that you know are not edifying you? That's doing absolutely nothing for your soul and your spirit. That's doing nothing for your self-esteem. If the answer is yes, you're listening to it, maybe that's what's hindering you. Try to switch gears. Try listening to some Danny Goki. Try listening to some for King and Country. Try listening to classical music. Something that's going to wean you off the things that you know, the sin that you're pouring into your spirit that's not helping you on your feminine journey. It's not helping you on your feminine growth. And you know that it is not of God. I feel that we need to go ahead and call out what these things really are. We see them for what they are. We know deep down inside that it doesn't do anything for us, but we continue to do it. And then when we slump into defeat, when we become dispirited, and when we feel as if we can't pick ourselves back up, we're wondering why. And that should not be the case. God is the only way. You have to stick to him. Stick to him, stick with him. He will help transform your feminine growth. He will help transform the obstacles and everything that's happening in your life. He can't stop your heart from breaking. We have sin. Sin sells. We have sin in the world. He can't stop your heart from breaking. But he will be there. He is there. Okay? So, that's all that I have for today. Hopefully this video was very helpful, part 1 and part 2. Hopefully they were helpful to you, kind of figuring out obstacles that's completely obliterating your feminine growth and your feminine journey. I hope that this helped, and I will see you next week in the next video. All right, my queens, go ahead and put on those crowns and reign. Have a majestic day, Your Majesty.